Hi guys, thanks so much for being here. It's kind of funny because I'm talking to no one because I can't see any faces, but I'll just pretend that your beautiful face. If you just clicked on the link and you're trying to figure out why you can't see your face, it's because you need to give the program an okay to be able to share your video. So just click on the bottom left-hand corner. It's pretty easy. It just says start video, accept it, and then you'll be good with it. But some of you have called in just because you are using the phone, which is not a big deal. And I just want to knock out some points and then make sure I have you guys get any questions answered. So this is Zoom recording. This is the advantage of Zoom is you get to see face-to-face, but it's also you can call in and it's free all over the country. So it's really cool when you do like conference meetings and you get like 20, 30 people on, you can see everyone's bright and shiny faces. So I see Taryn, that's the only person I see. So I'll just pretend that I'm talking to Taryn because I don't see any faces. And I know that some of the girls are going to listen to the recordings, and then there's a couple girls that are having a hard time getting on. So let me see, is Erica, are you on or no? I don't think Erica's on. Is Erica on? Anyhow, okay, whatever. We're done. I'm done trying to figure out who's on. Okay. So anyhow, thank you girls for being on. I want to knock out some points. So I wanted to give you guys some tips to move into 80 days into this program with excitement, with the ability to be able to finish strong, with the idea that, okay, I can do this and kind of break it down. So I have been doing this. I think I'm on, what are we going into, day 30 something? And I'm on phase 2, and I have a whole bunch of women doing it on phase 2. So what's exciting is you're going to be seeing other women that you're kind of getting into the groove with in different groups, like doing phase 2, moving into phase 3 when kind of you're in phase 1. So it doesn't really matter what phase you're in. So just know that. So you're going to be put into a group probably in the next couple days, and my ladies are especially in a bigger group with all of my girls that have been doing something with me. It's called VIP Vibe Tribe, and I know Taryn has her own group, but you're going to be put into a group. So you're going to connect with other women doing that, and then also the group that we have in the pod. Okay. So
super.
Here's a couple things that I have, and then if you have any questions, make sure you write it down. We can get the questions answered. Okay. Here's the thing. The things that I have learned, I'm just going to share with you, and then Taryn, you can hop into. I need you to measure and weigh yourself today. Okay. Please do not wait until Friday. Please do not wait until next week. Please do not worry about what it says and what the inches are. I know it's scary, you guys. I've been there before. I know sometimes stepping on the scale after a while that you haven't is a reality check, or I know looking in the mirror and seeing some measurement. But the cool thing is you've made the decision to change, and so it's only going to change from here on out. Okay? So I need you to measure and I need you to weigh, because there are going to be numerous weeks where maybe the weight doesn't change, but your measurements do. Okay? I've had girls in January, the girls that have all measured are not very disappointed when they lose 3 inches that week and they don't lose a ton of weight. Does that make sense? Because they can understand in their head that they're still changing and they're still toning up. So we need you to measure and we need you to weigh. And that information is on the 80-day obsession Beachbody On Demand. You can print out. What you can do is you can go onto the app, and there's a little arrow it's like a little button that looks like an arrow that pushes up. That means you can upload that information to anything. And what I do is I just send it to an email to myself. I've sent the meal plan to myself. I've sent the workouts to myself. I've sent the weight and measurements to myself. I actually sent out the tracking sheets for phase 2 to myself. And so I print them up and then I have them and I put them in a binder, and I just keep the binder. Okay, I'm not going to lie. It's not a binder. I just put them in a stack of papers, and it's next to me when I work out. Okay. Must be true. I was going to try to be fancy there, but I haven't made it to the dollar store yet. So, okay. So let's move right into tips that can help you be successful. Our goal, my goal, is to help you rock the next 80 days, okay? And I want to get it out of your head now. I know this is called 80-day obsession, but it's not about being obsessed in the sense that you have to be perfect, okay? The obsession part comes from being obsessed with your best self, putting your best effort first, okay? And I really want you to start thinking of it that way, all right? So you must, to be successful, plan and prep, okay? Now on this pendulum of planning and prepping, there is a wide range of what people do to plan and prep. Okay. I need you to figure that out. And we're going to talk. Let me give you some ideas. Okay. I know that some people think planning and prepping is that they get up in the morning on Sundays and they prep for 5 hours. I don't do that. I know some people do that. I know some people think of prepping as creating all their 75 meals for the week and having them in the refrigerator because they work full time, and that is super beneficial to them. Okay. So I want you to start thinking, what does planning and prepping look like for me? And let me share with you what it looks like for me. So today I make sure I prep the necessities. So I prep the things that I need to grab quickly so that I can grab them and put them into what I like to call the container. You use the container system to make my meals. So I have boiled eggs that are always prepped. I have a big batch of baked vegetables I do every Sunday. I usually typically use what's in my fridge and the leftovers. So I have broccoli and cauliflower and carrots, and I make it the same way every time. I mix it with olive oil. I put lemon juice on it. I put salt and pepper on it. I put a batch of whatever you want to call, it's called 21 seasoning salute, whatever mix you want on there. I would use a no salt seasoning. And there's one at Costco. There's one at Trader Joe's. I cook it. I bake it for $3.75. I put them in for 20 minutes, take them back out, do the same thing, mix them up, put them back in. And I do a huge batch of that. So I cook the veggies, okay? And I also cut up fruit. And then I also cut up raw vegetables. So I have those things, okay? If I do that, I feel and sweet potatoes, all right? If I do those 4 things, I feel very prepared, okay? What else I've also been doing is, as I've noticed going through this, my morning is my hardest thing to figure out, to get my vegetables in. So if I chop up onions and I chop up bell peppers and I cook them and saute them and I keep them in a container, I can easily add those to my eggs in the morning with spinach and can fill my container without feeling like I have to cut up things every morning. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I want you to start thinking about, what can you prepare? What can you prep? Okay. And then what I also do is I add to my meals each day, which means, like, what do you mean? So like tonight I'm cooking, right when I get off the phone, I'm going to cook up some ground turkey. I'm going to make some meatloaf, turkey meatloaf. Okay, I couldn't get it out of my mouth right there. Okay, turkey meatloaf. But I'm making double. So I'll have the leftovers for some of my meals the next couple days. Okay, it's for my red container. All right, so when I cook dinner, I just make a little bit more than normal. I might add one more chicken breast for me, or I might add one more batch of whatever I'm cooking. And so it's not extra for me. It's just a little bit more. Does that make sense? Because then I can make the extra meals. So that works for me and my family. Okay. So there is something to be said. You have got to prep and plan. Okay. That's the prepping part. Now I want you to make sure that you're planning your meals. Okay. One more thing to prepping. The night before I go to bed, I look at what I'm doing the next day. Okay. So I look at what I'm doing the next day. And if I have, like, for example, my daughter has music class, or like I have to take my kids to gymnastics, or I'm working, or whatever it is, I make sure I have what I need prepped and ready to go. And I even bought these little container things off of Amazon. It's like these little, like, meal, you don't have to have them, but they're like meal prepping things. So that I can just grab my cottage cheese, put it in there, grab my 2 eggs, put it in there, grab my cut up veggies, put it in there. Everything that I can do to prep myself for success the night before. And it just takes 10 minutes. I do it when I'm packing my kids' lunches, sometimes in the morning. Sometimes I wait for the morning. I pack myself my own lunch that day. Even when I'm not necessarily going to be gone, it's helpful. Okay? Planning. I just want you to start looking over your meals. Instead of looking, and here's where the biggest thing happens, and I think that I can give you the best advice about this. And once I figured this out, it was super simple. Okay? Everything is figure outable. You do not have to make 80-day obsession approved meals. You make your meals and make them 80-day obsession approved for yourself. Okay? That just means you make your normal meals for your family. Of course, you're going to try new meals. Of course, you're going to try new stuff off the Fixate. Of course, you're going to, so I look at Pinterest. Like right after this, I'll look at Pinterest. I'll go online. So I try to do a turkey recipe, a chicken recipe. I try to do a crock pot recipe. I try to do a fish recipe each week. So I might say, like, clean, healthy salmon recipe. Type it in. So this week I'm making a pesto basil salmon. Okay. It's on whole wheat spaghetti. It's it's salmon, it's pesto. It all fits within but I make it work for me because I know what my containers are for that dinner. Does that make sense? Maybe sometimes at a meal, I don't have the cheese, so I don't put the cheese on mine. I hope that makes sense. So that's how I figure it out. And then I just kind of plan it in. So I'm never stressed out, and I don't make double meals simply because I don't have time for that. So my kids eat what I eat, and then I just make theirs a little bit different. I might put a different sauce on theirs. I might add more cheese on theirs. I might bake theirs differently. And once I figure that out, it wasn't super stressful for me. And I know Taryn does the same thing. But let me shut this door real quick. Hold on. My husband's wrestling with all my kids out there. Anyhow. Okay, so Taryn, do you have anything to add to that, prepping and planning?
No, I think that that has to be probably one of the most critical steps for you to be successful. I will forewarn, and I don't want to say forewarn in like a scary way, but it's going to be a process and it's going to take some getting used to. It might seem overwhelming, but we were all there too, because Kiana and I have done this for a long, long time, the meal prepping and planning, but it didn't start out easy, but just keep it really simple for yourself. Duplicate meals throughout the week so you don't have to try and think of something brand new and elaborate every single night. Batch cook, right? Kiana said she batch cooked roasted vegetables, but like batch cook brown rice, quinoa, have all that stuff on the ready. So you just scoop it and throw it in and then you're good to go.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks, Taryn. What she said is so critical that if you do not prep, you've heard it before. Fail to plan, plan to fail. Okay. If you don't prep, there's been numerous times that I thought to myself, holy smokes, I'm so happy I prepped. I'm so happy because I'm starving right now. And if I didn't have this right next to me, I would stop at the local fast food place, or I'd stop at this random place, or I'd eat whatever. I'd eat all the chips because I'm not prepared. Okay. And there's going to be times the first week, you got to trust the process and you got to give yourself some grace. You just have to keep trying and keep figuring it out. The containers are going to be a new thing for you guys, some of you. The timing of the nutrition is going to be new for you. So the first week, you're just figuring it out and doing the best that you can, okay? And asking a lot of questions in your group, okay? Asking lots of questions and saying, what are you guys doing for this? Or what's working for you, okay? So follow the plan, be patient, okay? And I cannot tell you enough to trust the process. I know there's days where you're feeling, oh, this isn't working, or this isn't, like, I'm telling you right now, like, it's crazy. Like, sometimes you'll, one week you'll be up and you're like, I'm feeling so great. And the next week's like, ah. But the truth is the battle of health, being healthy is kind of like up and down. It's like a roller coaster. It's not linear. It's not like I'm just getting healthier and healthier and healthier and healthier, and life is great, okay? You're going to have some down times. Come to the group when you need support, okay? You're going to have times where you're feeling like you're not feeling any different, okay? Come to the group. You're going to need support. But I promise you, you cannot fix all your bad habits in one day, okay? But you can start to chip away and peel the onion until you can get, each week getting better and better and better, okay? I am much better now at planning and prepping than I was 4 weeks ago. The first week, I felt like a freaking kindergartner. I was like, okay, I know how to do this, but it was really brand new. The time nutrition part of it was brand new. Everything was brand new. Okay, so let me go through the better, best, good, going through that. Just trust the process. Know it's going to get better. You can't fix all your bad habits in one day. You're just going to be working on the things, new things each day, and having a positive attitude, okay? So here's the thing. I look at this program. I know people go into a new program and they look at it as being perfect. Taryn and I have talked a lot about this. I don't think there's such thing as a perfect, like being perfect in any program. If you're perfect, you're going to fail. You're going to set yourself up for failure, because out of 100 people, I would say that 99 of them fail sometimes. And you're going to be like, well, that's not encouraging. But the truth is that you're going to have times when you eat out. You're going to have times when you don't feel like prepping. You're going to have times, but here is the truth, okay? What I always try to remind myself is, as long as I am 90%, like really aiming for that 90% or higher, I am killing this program, okay? Because in the past, before this program, I was like 50%. I was eating out. I was not tracking anything. I wasn't drinking my water. I wasn't even going hard in my workouts. Do you know what I mean? And so for me, like, I'm aiming for that 90%. So I have that 10%. But here is the truth, okay? There is a best, a better, and a good option for each person. So I want you to figure that out, okay? The best option for most people, the very best, is following the program to a T, doing all the containers, doing all the time nutrition, plugging yourself into the group, nailing it almost every single day and seeing progress, okay? There's also
Right.
a better option, all right? Where the better option is you're plugging yourself into the program, you're doing really good, but maybe you miss a container that day, or maybe you eat at a different time, okay? That's okay. You're still, it's still better than what you were doing. So you have got to give yourself the grace and understand that as long as you are following on your best plan and your better plans, okay, and you're in that 90% or above range, you're going to get results. Okay, and then there's the good option. And the good option is maybe following the workouts, but maybe not necessarily following all the time nutrition and kind of just doing your own thing with your nutrition. And I would only highly suggest that if what you are doing is already working, okay? The reason you came here is because what you're doing is not working. So you've got to completely change it up, and you got to trust the process, okay? So for me, I have to look at it. So I'm telling you right now that I drank wine before. I was a wine drinker Friday and Saturday night. I love Sour Patch Kids. I love ice cream. Oh, I probably was eating out twice a week. And it's not that those things I look at and think of them as bad. You're a bad person when you do those things. But my balance was overindulgence. So I wasn't having that true balance. And I probably was sitting at the 50 to 60% range when it came to my nutrition. I'm telling you, your nutrition will make or break you. You will not get results if you are below 90%. Especially right now until you go into maintenance mode. Right now, we are trying to lose weight. We are trying to tone up. Does that make sense? We are trying to get to the point where we want to go. When you get to the point where you are like rocking the body that you love and your pants are fitting great and the weight is where you're at and the inches are where you're at, that's called maintenance mode. That's a little bit different. You can figure out, it's an 80-20 lifestyle, right? So I just want you to go into this with the best option for you and to do your very best and to understand and recognize that there will be times when you will mess up maybe one time during the day, but that does not mean that you failed, okay? If you go into this thinking that you have to be perfect, you will already fail, okay? I want to give you permission for that. That being said, I need you the first 2 to 3 weeks to completely break the mold of whoever you were in the past, meaning this. You have got to cut the sugar. You've got to eat with the containers. You have got to eat with the time nutrition. And you have got to go onto this plan the best that you can. I did not drink any wine for the first 2 to 3 weeks, okay? I will talk to you after 3 weeks about how you can add it back and get it back into your lifestyle as a balance and purposeful and intentional. But we haven't earned that yet. We have to make sure that we cut the crap and cut it all out. Okay, does that make sense? Okay, so Taryn and I will be very honest with you. We like to drink sometimes, okay? And she's my success partner, and I'm like, we had to make a commitment. Like, could have I gone 80 days without it? Yes, absolutely. Okay, that's not what this is about. And I know that some of you, like in your head, it's like 80 days of perfection unless I fail. But we're gonna flip the mold in your head and make you realize that you are gonna aim for the best yet that you've ever done, and you're going to plan your 1 treat a week, and you're going to still get results because you're following the plan so much better than you've done in the past. Does that make sense? Okay. What we don't want you to do is to flip anything around because you just feel like it. Meaning, the reason that there is a time nutrition every 2 to 3 hours is because it works. So the meals are already put together for you. The containers are already put together for you. Every 2 hours, it's telling you what to do and when to do it. Please trust the process and follow the program. Do not mix up the containers on different meals, okay? There is something in the meal plan. There is a workout. It's called a workout block, okay? You cannot flip the order of that. And that will make a little more sense when you look at the nutrition. Meaning, there's a pre-workout meal, then you have your workout, then you do your post-workout meal, and then you have your meal number 1, I believe. That all has to stay like in that order, okay? Then you have some meals in the evening and like in the afternoon that can be flipped, meaning if your containers are better for you, if a certain meals are better for you, like your meal combinations, you can flip those meals around. Does that make sense a little bit? And again, this will make more sense when you look at the meal plan and you look at it and go, okay, because the first 2 days I was confused. So I was asking lots of questions, and I've been in this business for 6 years, and this is a new program. So I was confused. So please ask questions. You'll get it. I promise. Don't get nervous or irritated. Just ask lots of questions and we will answer them the best that we can. Okay. So, if I've learned anything from this program, this is scary for a lot of people, but you have to eat more. You have to eat more than probably what you're used to. Okay. And you have to get off the scale, and don't get on the scale every day, and don't think that the progress is only happening with the scale. Okay. I highly suggest you only weigh yourself once a week, and we do it on weigh-ins, which is Monday mornings or Friday. Some people do it Saturday morning or Monday morning or whatever. You can just choose one day a week. I like to do it on Monday because that makes me stay accountable on the weekend. That's just me personally. I just figured out figured it out. Like if I have a good weigh-in on a Friday, I'm like, yay! And then I just sometimes go, okay, yay, the week's over. You know what I mean? So Monday keeps me a little bit more accountable. Set alarms on your phone for your food. I know that sounds crazy, but here is the thing is I've realized with a lot of women, and Taryn can probably attest to this, that we don't eat. I was eating too little before this program. I would go a really long time without eating, and then I'd stuff my face full of food. And it was really exciting in this program in the first phase to see my metabolism revving up. Like, there is no reason you should be hangry and waking up in the middle of the night hangry, okay? But it is good if your next meal is planned and you are hungry and you eat when you're hungry. Does that make sense? The first week, you're going to have to maybe, okay, adjust a little bit and take your time. I never ate a meal before I worked out. I'm going to be honest with you. I never did it, okay? So I had to trust the process. And I did it, and I took it slow, and I just trusted the process, and I just ate it. But I'm telling you, I do believe it's helped me last in my longer workouts, okay? I do believe that it's helped me give me energy in my longer workouts. Okay, a couple more things, and then Taryn can talk, and we can get you off of here. Performance line, if you don't know what that is, you're going to see us drinking that yellow drink in the morning. It's the energy drink. And then some of you bought that performance package, which includes the energy drink, Energize, and it includes the Recover. The Recover, I'm telling you right now, I did a survey, and it's totally up to you. It's totally okay if you don't do it, but I am telling you right now, you are going to be incredibly sore. And when you are sore, it's harder to push yourself harder in the workout. And in my opinion, you don't get as much out of it, and then you don't burn as many calories. I don't know. That's just how I feel. I never used the Performance Line Recover before this, and I keep hearing all these people complaining how sore they are and how awful they are, and they can't even like move up the stairs because their booty hurts. And I'm like, I'm not sore. I don't get what. And then I'm like, oh, I'm taking Recover. So if you have Recover, please take it within 30 minutes after you work out and follow that plan, because your body will thank you. And then what's the last thing I was going to say? Karen, do you have anything else to say while I come up with something?
I wanted to reiterate that as time goes on, and Kiana and I each have pods for our respective new wave, if you will, people are going to be losing weight maybe faster than you are. You may lose inches, they may not. You may not lose a pound, they may lose 5. The point of it is you cannot compare yourself to where somebody else is, because your results are going to happen based on what your body genetic makeup is. Everybody's built differently. So somebody might lose 5 pounds in a week. You might not lose 5 pounds for 2 months. That is okay, as long as you're being honest to yourself in that you are following the nutrition and you're trusting the process. There's so many things that can weave and feed into that kind of your results. And Autumn talks about it in our coach test group. She gave an example. There was a cast member that was not losing any weight, and I just want this as food for thought. And then I don't know, Kiana, if you figured out what you were going to say, but I have a couple other questions that I wanted to do on the tail end of it. But this cast member lost an hour of sleep every night that week for whatever reason, and he had stopped seeing results. And she said, well, how's your sleep? He's like, well, I'm only getting 7 hours this week. And she's like, well, what'd you get last week? He said 8. The week then he had 8 hours of sleep each night, he was getting better results. So everything has different things that contributes to whether you are getting results at a pace or not. You will get them, but you have to she stresses self-care. You have to find adequate sleep. 4 hours of sleep is not going to cut it when you're doing this intensive program. And I'll circle back on that because one of my challengers had a question, so I just didn't want to go off on a tangent, Kiana, in case you remembered what you wanted to say.
Yeah, I just wanted to leave it open for some people to ask questions, and then I just wanted to make sure that we covered you guys, I cannot tell you the last time, I get up excited to work out, okay? And there are some days where I'm like, oh man, this is different for me. It's a little longer workouts, it's band work and arm work, but I'm seeing a change in me that I have not seen in a very long time. And I just am so incredibly excited for you guys because what you're experiencing in the next week, we've already experienced, which is kind of cool. So you can come to the group and ask questions. Someone wanted to talk about eating out. Okay, so here's my thing about that. I'm not going to say absolutely no, don't eat out. But I will say it's very easy to do something like this. Oh, I'm going to eat out on Saturday, and so I'm just going to eat whatever, and I'm going to be perfect the rest of the week, okay? You really have to, nail your nutrition, better than you ever have the first 2 and 3 weeks. You have to cut the sugar out of your body. You have to sugar detox. You have to trust the process. And I would suggest that you don't eat out the first couple weeks, okay? After you cut the sugar, after you get and would you agree with this, Taryn? After you get the timing figured out, after you get the containers figured out, then you can go to a fast food place, a restaurant, and then you can actually visualize which food fits your containers. Because I will go to a restaurant and I will say, I don't want cheese on that, or please leave it open. Can you lettuce wrap that? Okay. Or can you, so you'll figure it out, but it's really hard to set yourself up for success when you haven't figured it out and you choose to go out to eat. And then you're just going to go, I'm going to wing it. Well, winging it is what got you here in the first place, right? You can't wing it. So you have to make sure that you trust the process. Okay. So I would highly suggest that once you get the containers and the timing down, takes about 2 weeks, then let's talk about going out to a restaurant if you want to go on that date night, and then you're going to send me the meals from that restaurant, and I'm going to say, this is the choice that you should choose. These are the things that you should choose. Because my husband eats popcorn and drinks his pop at the movies last night, and I was like, seriously? He gave me the popcorn and I had to hold it when he went to the bathroom. But he eats the same meals that I have. He's really supportive of me. Typically, he eats the same meals that I do at dinner. He doesn't. He's been telling me that he loves the meals that I've been making. If you want to know any of my meals that I've made, they're on Pinterest under Dinner Accountability. There are about 40 meals in the last month that I've made, and they are amazing. I will give you my top 10. My husband, they're incredible, and they all fit within the containers and the system. You can make it work. Okay. This says, don't love coffee. Yeah, you can use, okay, so are you putting creamer in your coffee? Okay, yeah, no creamer. That's not on the plan. You can put almond milk in the coffee. Is there Taryn, I don't drink, I'm really bad, a person asked, because I don't drink coffee. She does. Taryn, do you ever use nut pods? Have you ever seen those?
Yep, I use nut pods, and that is my creamer now. I used to do butter coffee, so it's an adjustment for me. Okay. So that's what I use.
Okay, so nut pods, you guys, is something you can look on Amazon and look it up. It's like a almond milk creamer. Is that what it is? Or a nut?
It's an almond milk and coconut milk blend. It's plant-based.
So, just so that you know, almond milk is not counted in this program if it's under 4 to 6 ounces. So I put almond milk in my Shakeology. Some people drink it with water. I drink it with almond milk, and I don't count it. And so you can put it in coffee. You can you could do the bulletproof coffee is like a bunch of butter. So like, unless you could just do a teaspoon, right? You can't do that, right? In this program.
Well, it just depends on the timing of it, because you have to make sure that you match, the coffee has to match the teaspoon and a protein and whatever that container block is, right?
Yeah,
So you can't
right.
just have your coffee with
Right.
your creamer and some,
Oh, yeah. That
you
is
know,
a
oil.
good point. The one thing I really want to hammer on is you really need to like take a picture of your containers, like the colors in the 80-day obsession, and just have it like on your phone. I put it in my favorite section of my phone on the photos, so I can just constantly refer back to it. But what I did is when I put my alarms in my phone, and I showed you guys this, I put the colors of the hearts according to my containers. And the biggest thing is just figuring out what works with your containers. Okay. I told you that I just want to be brutally honest with you. I used to have a really fast metabolism. I've always had a fast metabolism. I've been on these programs before where like everyone's like, I'm stuffed and I'm like starving, and I don't believe in being hangry and being mean to lose weight. And so I need you to talk to me if you're waking up hungry at night, or if you're so hungry that because there's a very big difference between being hangry, like, do you understand what I mean, girls? Like, to the point where it's like affecting like how you feel, how you think, or being hungry. Being hungry is good. That means you're burning calories, but it means you're just hungry for your next meal. You eat your meal, you're fine. Being hangry is something that I can't handle, and it's not good for you. And let me tell you, when I do the calculations, they put me on plan A. I'm like, hell no, I'm never going to do plan A. So I started with plan B. I started doing the containers for plan B. I stuck with it for 1 week, and I did every container, all the timing, and I was hangry. So I am calculated plan A and doing plan C and still losing weight. So I want you to understand that eating more is not going to getting you to the right bracket is not going to necessarily, I know it's freaky because it's a lot of food, but you have to trust the process. Okay. So there are some of you that are on plan A, and I'm going to tell you right now that I'm probably going to bump you up to plan B. Very rarely, I've known a few people that can be on plan A that aren't hungry. But typically you might be moving to plan B. So I need you to trust the process, and I'm going to ask you to do it for a week. Okay. You can't just decide, like Taryn kept telling me, like, can't just do it for 2 days, Kiana, you got to do it for a week. You got to make sure that and you can't, it's not like every week you're changing. She only suggests you change, like, and each phase you recalculate your calories. And I know that sounds weird, but to me, plan A is it's around 1,200 to 1,400 calories, and my body does not function on that low. I'm also a lot leaner and taller than some, people, and that's just what it comes out to, and I know my body. So I just want you to be hyper vigilant and be aware. We're going to be able, like, am I hungry, or am I like, oh man, I am really hangry? Okay. I don't want you waking up at night from hunger. I don't want you not being able to sleep from hunger. Always drink water if you feel like you're hungry, and sometimes you're not really hungry. If you've ate every single container and you've ate all the time nutrition and you're nailing it and you're still hungry, then talk to me. Okay.
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 That
Okay.
sounds good.
Do you have any questions, girls?
I have a question. This is
Yes.
Jenna. I thought I read, I'm trying to find what schedule will work to work out. Ideally, I like it in the morning.
Yes.
I leave my house I have to get my kids up at like 6:30. So
Yes.
I am okay getting my workout done between 5 and 6 a.m.
Yes.
But I will not be up an hour to 90 minutes beforehand to get a meal. So I thought I read you can swap out the pre-workout meal with meal option 1.
Yes. Yes.
If
And I'm so glad you brought this up, Jenna, because I tested it, and one video that Autumn did, she was like, just to let you know, I know that's in the plan. She's like, because sometimes it takes people's bodies a long time to metabolize this food. But I'm just being honest with you, Jenna. I eat and I work out 15 minutes later. I eat a full meal and I work out 15 minutes later. I figured it out that it does not affect my body. And the only time it affects my body more so is on the cardio days. Because on the non-cardio days, you're literally like, you're doing movements that are like, you're not jumping up and down. You're not running around. Does that make sense? So
Yes.
you don't need 90 minutes to metabolize your food. And I was like, why am I killing myself trying to wake up at 4:45, 5 o'clock? So I just figured you're going to figure it out. So just test it. I think that you could probably, like, if you can do a smaller meal swap it out like you said, do a smaller meal, do the meal plan 1 and give yourself like 15 to 20 minutes. I promise you, most of you will be fine when it comes to the non-cardio days. Then on the cardio days, you need to figure it out, because when you're in phase 2 and your cardio is 50 minutes long, I mean, you're jumping up and down and you feel like you're going to puke. You don't want the food to be jumping up and down, right? On the cardio days, I have to go like 30 minutes, but you'll figure it out. I promise.
Now, do you do your energized drink with your plan? Because I was thinking like meal option 1, I could just do like a yogurt and berries, and I mean, it's not very heavy. Can I drink the energized drink with it?
Yeah, I honestly do I'm eating my meal as I'm drinking my Energize, and I'm finishing my Energize in the first 10 minutes of my workout. Does that make sense? Like I'm kind of like continuing it on, like I'm starting it and then I'm finishing it kind of as I go. I would say the actual timed nutrition, the most important part is that you're eating your meals every 2 to 3 hours. Does that make sense? So like after you get that workout in, and then you drink your recover and you have your fruit, and then your first meal starts 2 to 3 hours later, then you continue with that plan. Because if you don't continue with that plan, it's gonna be really hard for you to get all your food in, number 1. And number 2, I find that if I'm off in my timing, it just kind of makes my day like I get flustered, because I'm like, what do I have left? When do I have to, but if I just stick with the plan and I just go, okay, I need a red, I need a green, I need a, you know what I mean? It makes it a lot easier.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah. Any other questions? I know, Taryn, you had some.
I got 3. Okay. And I just want to hammer them out because then I got to hop off. Sorry.
No, we're going to get going.
One of my new challengers, Jen, she asked, life's going to happen. What happens if, a kid gets sick, something derails us to skip a workout? Do we skip that whole week? Do we shift things around? And I think everything has to be case by case. So chances are, if you have to miss a workout, the timed workout, try and fit it in later on in the day. If you can avoid skipping it altogether, otherwise I say, there's shorter workouts in the first phase. So for instance, cardio flow is on a Saturday. That tends to be when I suggest, if you have to miss a workout for any reason, or just, life happens, double up on that day, as long as it's not then going into Monday doing that same workout that you skipped. So maybe you move them so it works out. So just ask Kiana or I, depending on whose pod you're in, to make sure that you can get back on track. But that also has to come with the fact that don't let that derail you. Don't let that screw you up. You still got to model the every 2-3 hour eating plan so you can stay on track and then get back on it the next day. Okay. The other question was, all my food is done by 6:30. So that's when I'm actually done eating anyways. I don't extend my food. I'm not doing Recharge, which is the evening suggested supplement. I follow a mostly plant-based, although I am going into next week completely plant-based. I have to play around with something in my diet. It's not working for me. Eggs, I think, is throwing me off. So I will not be doing I haven't done the Recharge. So my meals end at 6:30, and I am fine with that, right? Like, I don't need to have anything at 9 o'clock before I go to bed, and I'm going to bed at 9. So I might have tea if I find that, like, I just need something. Tea can be really satiating, and it can just be kind of that connection to an activity of eating, right? So if you're starving, like, I'm getting up at 4 o'clock to eat my first meal before I work out at 4:45. So from 4 to 6:30, 4 a.m. to 6:30 p.m., that's a long time to eat. There's no reason why you should have to eat beyond that, right? Because you're getting all the adequate nutrition. If you need to push it out, then extend to that like 3-hour block of eating. After you've gotten out of that workout block, then you can space your meals out and push them. So maybe you're finishing your last meal at 7, 7:15, 7:30, instead of being done at 6:30 and being hangry, come 12 o'clock that wakes you up. Okay. But also I highly recommend, and everything, like Kiana said, is blocked out. Don't shift the containers around, but you may find that something you need to move of the meal options 1 through 4 to later on, so you get more of a satiating meal block of food, meaning maybe the blue is part of one of your blocks, and have that at night, so you get a little bit more of the healthy fat component that's going to satiate you all through the evening and help you sleep really well too. So the last question too is, one question I had was about time nutrition and when do we start? Like, we start tomorrow. Tomorrow is when you start your block of eating. You've got to plan and schedule your workouts. Kiana's shown you probably what her reminders are, and I literally just screenshotted mine and be loading them to my pod. So if you're listening on my pod, you'll see that. But I have it mapped out with all of the colors, so I know exactly what I'm supposed to be eating at that time. And then it's just routine, and it's habitual, and it's just you kind of get to second nature. So we're in phase 2, and like Kiana and I are kind of back at the kindergarten phase because we had to change our workout, our meal blocks, right? So we're probably eating in a different category. I know I am. So I had to shift things around and replan and recalibrate a bit. So it'll take a week for me to recalibrate, and then I'll be back on track. Or at least not on track, but just having it be more systematic. So those were really kind of the questions that I had from those that weren't able to pop on.
Because I was in Plan A, and they moved me at remember I told you I already moved up to B, and then I moved up to C. I'm not moving. I'm in C.
Yeah.
I'm just staying in C because they moved me from A to B, and now I'm just going to stay in C because I'm getting results, you guys. Like, I'm losing inches, I'm losing weight, I'm feeling good, I'm not hungry, I'm feeling like these meals are bomb for me. But I would have never moved to C unless I tried out my plan for at least a week. Okay, so make sure that you do that. Someone just said one last question. Oh wait, never mind. Okay, if you're on vacation, if you're going somewhere, you have Beachbody On Demand, take it with you, pack your bands, pack your sliders, try to find access to weights. If not, I'm going to Palm Springs, you guys, during this time. I'm going to have water bottles that are my big weights. Woo! And I'm just going to make it work. So just do the best that you can. First couple days, if you have not planned anything, you guys, you better plan tomorrow. You better plan at least tomorrow and go, okay, what do my meals look like? What do my plans look like? What time am I eating at? What am I doing? When am I doing it? So that you can be successful, okay? And then make sure you connect with your pods and you ask questions. And the last thing I was going to say is there was a video that was said that if you are in fact truly hungry past your time nutrition, like it ends at 6:30, do not grab, if you're ravenous, do not grab a purple or a yellow, grab a green, which means you just grab a vegetable instead. If you are super hungry and you get to the point where I'm just going to pass out if I don't eat, you won't probably be there. But if you are, give yourself permission to have a vegetable, okay? That is always okay versus not having a carb and not having a fruit at night, okay? Because most people will grab chips or grab a big pile of fruit or grab whatever, and we want to steer away from those later on in the evenings.
With the green,
yes.
Do you measure your vegetables before you cook them?
No, when I cook them, I just put them in there.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep. And I'm just telling you, you can stuff a lot into the yellow container. Just stuff it.
Okay.
Just kidding. Anyhow, okay. Any other questions, Taryn? Or you guys?
No, but I was just going to comment on the vacation thing because, like Kiana, she's got a trip. We have spring break, and so we'll be gone at the very end of peak week, I think it is for us. But we have to remind ourselves that this is not a temporary thing. Yes, it's a little bit more of a commitment that we vested in for 80 days, but we're setting up a new lifestyle, new habits. So you think differently when you go on vacations. No more going on vacations and having a free-for-all only to come back and go, God damn it, why did I do that to myself? I just gained 5 pounds back, mostly water weight, not body fat, but it messes with your head. So you have to go on vacation with the mindset of, I am staying on track. Your nutrition has to be top notch because your travel plans and your sleep's going to set you off. Who am I to say that you shouldn't drink when you're on a vacation? That's just not reality for me. But my nutrition will be on point. That's what I'm saying. It's not reality for me to say I'm going to go on vacation and not have a cocktail. I am not at my house. So I'm going to, but that doesn't mean it's a bottle. Yeah. But I'm not going to have a bottle of wine. It's not going to turn into this rabbit hole of eating and snacking afterwards because that's what alcohol does. My nutrition will be on 100% except for, being on vacation. But I say that not to say I don't have a ton of things to unwind. I don't have a bunch of sugar binges. I don't have a bunch of bad habits I need to break. So that's my only thing. But you just have to retrain yourself going on vacation over time that it doesn't mean that it's a free-for-all, right? So especially doing this because you want to have the best results Because you know what? People are going to be inspired and motivated by you. And if they're like, girl, how did you go on a 5-day vacation with your family and still stay on track and still come back with results? And you're going to say, well, let me tell you, here's what I'm doing. And it's because I had a group to check in with. So just, you know, it's a mindset thing. So start prepping for it now.
Yes. Yes. And you know, I think it's just about being intentional with your choices once you start to figure it out. So like for me, I went on date night last night with my husband and he had drinks and I didn't, but then he ordered this like truffle like dessert. And I was like, I'm going to have 2 bites of that instead of that glass of wine. I didn't have both. I was absolutely not guilty at all. That was the one thing I had the entire week besides the 1 glass of wine for Valentine's Day. And even those 2 things combined together, it makes me feel I'm 90%. Everything else has been 90%. So I felt like, boom, I did it. I'm awesome. I didn't have popcorn at the movie theater, guys. Woo! I didn't have a bag of candy that I normally do. Woo! You see what I mean? It's those choices that you can like if you're going to make that decision to have that drink or have that chocolate, then you can't just keep making the decision over and over and over to be like, okay, now I'm going to have popcorn and now I'm going to have fast food and now I'm going to have this because this is the way that my life is. You know what I mean? So anyhow, okay. Thanks, girls, for hopping on. I hope this helps excite you. I will get the recording up and going. If you have any questions, reach out in your pods, and we are going to crush Monday. Talk to you guys later.
Super.
Thank you.
Bye. Yeah, you're welcome.